Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another edition of the show. Trek Wednesday, stardate 2016.6 at 22:05 Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to 2016, everybody. I am brought here not by mere people, not by mere mortals, but by the panel that are nothing less than giants in STO. Starting off with our Chief Logistics Officer, Captain TimberWolf. Please, sir, welcome us to 2016 with a good howl. Thank you very much. I am welcomed here also by our Chief Intelligence Officer, Captain SarcasmDetector.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, you know what? Did you switch a new blend of gravel?
Not that I know of.
Sounds a little bit different. But anyway, we enjoy it. Our Chief of Cheesy Tactics, Captain SOB.
Hello.
What's with this? What's with this? Do you not want to see me happy, man? Seriously. What is
I want
with
to
this?
see no torpedoes. That's what I want to see.
Come on. We already got nerfed 4 times over with the whole Chemosite bit. We lost all
Not
the
enough.
abilities with torque spread.
The enhanced biomolecular with high yield must be nerfed to balance everything out.
I'll deal with you later. Our Chief Emergency Role-Playing Hologram, Zeph from Zeph Films. Please, sir, give us some good immersion tonight.
Good evening. Welcome to 2016. Please keep your hands, arms, legs inside the plane as we take a ride through this year and hope that it's a lot better than 2015.
And our Chief Instructor, the lady herself, whether it's from Kronos or Starfleet Academy, she's always there with a ruler and a whip. TeacherKirby.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to 2016.
Oh, we're just going to have so much fun tonight, aren't we, folks? Let's jump straight into this thing here. Seriously. How's everybody's server and client performance doing these days?
Right?
Oh,
Joke.
Lord.
All right. One at a time now. I don't know. Start with teacher. Go.
Oh my God, the misfires, the dropped abilities. It's horrible. It's horrible. It reminds me of when the lag first started back at the last, anniversary event? God, just horrid.
No. No, it wasn't the anniversary event. The anniversary event is what really kicked it into overdrive. The lag was there way before that.
Yeah, we see you, Sin Industries. Yes, thank you very much. So we know what the delay is. A couple days. He activated his skills last Thursday, and they finally just went off.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that's about accurate.
My biggest gripe is that whenever I do a map change, I'm crashing constantly.
Yeah, I was going to say I've been experiencing more map crashes than there are crashes in the Toronto area.
Ooh.
That's just raw.
And don't forget the rubber banding. I mean, I think I rubber banded outside of ESD ground where I was walking around in space for a while, so that's also gotten pretty bad.
I actually haven't had any rubber banding issues, with the exception of when we go balls to the wall on CCA. But that's a completely different beast. But I haven't had any lag myself in like social areas or anything like that. But every time I go, I think every second or third map transfer, it just freezes at 46%. I'm just like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go play Dying Light or just go do video crap. I don't know.
Now,
Well,
go on.
no, I was just gonna say there's 2 issues that I've noticed. The first one, of course, is the same lag from last year, which at the moment we are pretty much seeing ourselves at almost the same amount of lag as we had last year at this time, towards the end of the winter event. And, if it holds true, if the pattern is going to repeat itself, if history is going to repeat itself, we're probably going to be stuck with this lag till May.
I hope
And then
not.
some.
I really hope not, because there are a bunch of people who are looking at this game right now and trying to join in or see what's going on. And this would not bode well for Cryptic to not have an influx of new players. Granted, we all would like to see this game healthy because we enjoy it. There, for as much as much of the grumbling that we do on here, we actually enjoy this game, or else we wouldn't give a damn. So we would like to see an influx of new players into the game. We would like to see a lot of the client and server performance issues addressed. Granted, the blanket DDoSing aside, there's still been some issues that need to be ironed over, but overall, the game is enjoyable at least to some level, and we'd like to see more players come in and enjoy it with us.
As bad as lag is right now, if the pattern continues, next month is going to be very, very bad lag-wise. And if they do what they did last year, right after the anniversary event, we're going to have another CCA event, and that means additional lag for the first half of March. I really don't see us having a period of no lag until the late part of March.
Yeah, I really think that the lag needs to be addressed, because this year, game-wise, there's a lot of big things that are coming out that are going to capture the interests of other people. And if people are fed up, there might not be much incentive for them to come back. So I really think the server stability and network stuff really needs to get fixed. And I'm going to say it again, somebody needs to get in there with 500 feet of Velcro and fix that cabling job. But yeah, the system stuff needs to be fixed badly and quickly, or it's not going to bode well. I'm actually surprised that there's still like a large amount of people who come on and still play the game, to be totally frank. But I think we can chalk that up to the people and the community. But even community people like ourselves, I think it's safe to say that we even have a limit.
Yeah, well, just say
Well, I mean,
that,
I think part of the reason. Go ahead.
let's just say that the point of frustration that took me about 6 months to get to last year, I'm already at right now. I'm not going to wait months and months and months and months for the devs to actually get off their ass and acknowledge this issue. There's more than just the rubber banding, the lag itself from like the abilities. There's also the UI itself just makes me want to pull my hair out.
Well, and I can already tell in the videos that you're releasing now too, because you're starting to put out playthrough videos of World of Warcraft and another game, if I recall. Timber, he's doing a playthrough of different various games. Myself, I got an Xbox One, so that's new and shiny, but I'm playing Dying Light, Halo 5. I've played the Mass Effect series before. I'm starting to play through that now. I played Counter-Strike Counter-Strike Go there last night for a good 3 hours, playing Star Wars: The Old Republic. Like, I can tell with a lot of people, it's starting to already waver, and really suck people back in.
Yeah, as Zeph said, I mean, I just started Darius Burst, which is one of those classic shoot-'em-ups with brand new graphics and everything, and it's got over 3,000 levels as far as gameplay. So I plan on it keeping me for a while, but with it being 2016, everybody is hyping up the IP of Star Trek being 50 years of Star Trek now. If they're not going to do anything to really capitalize on that by fixing the game and making sure that they have as clean of a year for sales as they can, people are going to get disillusioned with this particular brand in the Star Trek franchise, and they're going to look for either other Star Trek to cling on to, no pun intended, or they're going to go completely different direction and just wait for the TV shows and just play other games. But something's got to be done, because I mean, we're seeing people that don't even do high-end runs, and they're having issues with just map crashes. Something as simple as just moving from one map to another.
Here's a question for you all. Well, can you think of another game that is multiplayer based that has this much lag?
No, hold on. Let me forget about the lag. I want to talk about the UI for a second. Let me talk about the UI because this, I'm gonna face palm so hard my arm's gonna pop out the back of my head. So let's say I'm on ESD. I turn off the UI and I look at my FPS, my frames per second. It's about 40 frames per second. I turn on the UI, just turning on the UI, there's nothing else going on, it drops to 10 frames per second. I open up the window, the queue window to select like a queue to join, it drops to 5 frames per second. All right.
That's ridiculous.
Obviously your graphics card, and it's obviously your computer, because there's no way you could have a high-end graphics card that could run max resolution, high-intensity DirectX 10, 11, or 12 games. Well, there aren't many titles that support Direct 12, but still, you get the point. But obviously, it's you and your card, because there's no way other people who have high-end cards, like any of the current generation GeForces or Radeons, that would experience this, because no, it's obviously you.
It's obviously me, because I can jump onto one of my other games and push the graphics up to max, and it's buttery smooth.
Oh yeah, there's another game that I like to play that is very, very graphics intensive. The game is called Verdun. It's available on Steam if anybody likes first-person shooters. Great World War game. Anyway, but its graphics engine is just crazy, and yeah, I'm running that at 50, 60 frames per second, no issue. I turn on STO and I go and try and do demo record on New Romulus. I'm finding that this happens in places where there's a lot of air particles, and when I try to capture, it's the frame rates are just dropping down to like 10, 20. It's really bad, and I have a good computer, like 8-core processor, 32 gigs of RAM, 970 GTX, like that. And that shouldn't be happening at all.
And STO brings it down to its knees. It's just, it's you, man. You're bad. Your computer's bad. It's not that the game is not really optimized well. Sorry, I just want to reply to the Stonerification. He said in chat that the UI needs to be majorly overhauled. Here's the sad part. This is the new updated UI. This is the new UI that got updated shortly after, I think was it Delta Rising, or was it a little bit later than that?
No, it was after that when they did the rewrite of it. And I want to say somewhere between April and June.
Yeah, with all the new icons and that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on the topic of UI, another thing that's kind of surging back as a topic of discussion is people asking for the ability to turn off the ability effects, and that's something that I've been saying for a while. I'm like, there's all these, like, from the command trees and from your bridge officer powers and your what's the other thing, starship traits and space traits. All those graphics hitting at once, and you're on like a 20-man or a Starbase 24, that's also putting a little damper on things too. And really, it's, you know what, I'm going to play my role as emergency role-playing hologram here. It kind of ruins the immersion when you see all these graphical crap popping up. I personally hate it.
Well, granted, there's been some work that put into it, and some effects look very nice, and no lie about that. But there should be an option to turn that off, whether it's for performance issues or whether it's for immersion issues. I believe the option to disable that should be available.
I think somebody actually said that it messes with their immersion. All the icons, like the alpha, the beta, and all those stuff, It would be nice to have the option to turn it off, though.
Bloody hardcore mode, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, going on with this line, and I know, yes, it's 2016. We want to start off with a downer, but this is what we're dealing with here. Another aspect of it with new players or returning players coming in here, and they want to see some sort of quote unquote end game with it aside from Space Barbie. SOB, lead us in on this one here because yes, we've been saying this for a while, but give us the reasons why we need this.
Ooh. The AFK penalty just currently is nowhere near strict enough. Over the last few weeks, I've seen so many new people in there, in queues that are they're just sitting there in the spawn or performing so low. It makes doing anything in the public queues just a major pain to do. It's just terrible. I'd love to see them push out some sort of update that just makes the AFK penalty actually an effective block against players like that. Because right now, I've seen people just sit in the spawn and spam need, greed, and pass on items and not get the penalty while doing no damage and no healing in a run.
No,
I think you're being elitist. You're being a big fat elitist. What you need to do is you need to go to the elite queues where you belong and stay there and leave the other players alone.
What elite queues?
Shut up. Don't mention that.
There are no elite queues.
No.
Yes.
You need to stick to the elite queues where you belong. Stop being an elitist.
Once again, what elite queues?
Elite queue wise, I don't care if it takes the others a while. Just get us infected elite. We really need it for testing purposes. Infected Advance is currently the best map we have for parsing, and it really is a joke to measure high-end DPS on that map because you're stuck measuring bursts and not sustained.
Yeah, but give us a real reason aside from EP measurement there why there should be elite queues, why there should be good elite queues out there, why there should be a multitude of elite queues.
Well, I think there should be elite queues because you need to provide challenge for multiple level players. And right now they're not providing a challenge for the higher level players. And the high level players, a lot of them are the ones that are going to spend money in the game and keep coming back for the challenge of those elite queues that we currently don't have.
We need runs that have optionals that actually mean something towards the success or failure of a mission versus something that's simply a joke.
Yeah.
Whereas 6 months ago it wasn't a joke. I mean, that's even for the advanced queues. If you're going to put an optional in there that you can fail, make some of the optionals where if you fail the optional, you fail the run. And that's what gave us a challenge in advanced. And with so little elites, that's one of the things that helps. Give us more challenges where you have to actually, teamwork, build beyond having a turret in the front and your butthole in the back. Just something where it's an actual challenge for us. Because right now, we're seeing people that can throw together a full turret build and do 50k. We're seeing people that, using the right mechanics, they can have no tactical consoles on their build and still have enough to push through. There's just not enough of a challenge for the high-end players. And then you're seeing players that can just throw things together and they can do an amazing thing with just the advanced queues. There needs to be a real challenge.
Yeah, I agree. The teamwork right now is basically synchronizing your team's face roll on the keyboard. Everyone roll your face to the right. Now everyone roll your face to the left. Buddy, could you just use your forehead, please? That's what teamwork is right now.
No,
And
not your
then
chin, damn it, your forehead.
there's the other thing now is
Yeah.
there's with all of the returning players to the game, you see a lot of people that shouldn't be in advanced queues pugging the advanced queues, and it's very, very frustrating to go into Infected Advanced or Crystalline and see a bunch of people doing, 1 to 3k DPS. That's just... It's a pain.
It's what we've got several people agreeing on the same things. The getting rid of the fail conditions have ruined even the advanced queues. Because
Yes.
people just jump in and they don't have to worry about failing, an optional or a standard because it doesn't fail the mission itself. So, they can just sit there and do nothing or cause it to purposefully fail. They'll still get their marks, they'll still get dilithium out of it because it won't fail the mission. So it's actually enabled people to be lazy when you're doing advanced content, when some people are actually going in there because it's their first big challenge moving from normal to advanced, or they're trying to get their investment of the higher reward over normal. And someone that's going in there just because, hey, I can't fail it whether I do anything or not, would not be fair to the people that have actually put in work to get to that level.
Now, I would see it where, and again, a lot of people have stated this in the chat between Zerg and C. Birkenbow. They both more or less say that about 2% of the population, based off of rough estimates, are capable of doing most of the advanced and the elites more or less in their sleeps. With that said, though, what can we do to help the 98% be able to compete at the level of advanced and in elites?
Here's one of the biggest issues. A lot of these people that are performing that lowly in advanced queues don't know they're performing that poorly. I think if it would pop up a warning, just if they could add in something to measure it, and if it detects someone doing under like 5k in an advanced, it just notifies them of their performance. I mean, that sounds a bit elitist, but there's...
Well, if they're going to make advanced and elite queues nothing more than HP sponges where it's based around DPS, then yes, they need to make a warning of some kind. And that's not elitist, it's the way they've coded these things. If all we're going to get is HP sponges, then yeah, have a DPS counter. Okay, you're not doing enough for this content. Here's a warning, you might want to do better on that. If they're going to change the mechanics where you're testing different things like Hive Space Elite, it's really good to have a tank in there. It's really good to have someone that can burst heal. Have something where it's measuring more than just DPS. But we've seen a lot of times they just do HP sponges.
Yes, let's add another UI to the UI interface and piss off Cam some more.
Yeah, I'm sure that's working as intended.
No.
No,
I think part of the problem is that it seems to be that there's amongst the general community that there's a large anti-DPS sentiment, and there also seems to be the idea that doing DPS somehow isn't fun, or that you can't have both. You can't play for fun and DPS. And I think that we need to dispel that rumor that you can't have fun and DPS at the same time, because you can. You can do different kinds of boats and DPS. You can have fun with it and DPS. And I'm not meaning 100k and whatnot like SOB and whatnot are doing. I mean, even just getting to 10k, you have a huge variety of ways you can get there and be effective in your queue, be effective in an advanced or even an elite at the higher level, 30 and 50k, and still have fun and not necessarily have to spend a billion EC to get there either.
You just reminded me of this run, ISA run from a couple days ago. Were you in there with us, Spencer? I don't remember if you were in there with us or not, but...
Was it one of the scimitars using like subsystem targeting and doing 2k?
That's actually hilarious. I would like to hear that story. But we were doing a run, and at the end, one of the guys in the runs was like, "Oh, wow, who's doing over 60k in that run?" And there was 3 of us doing over 100K in that ISA run. So we posted the log for him to see, and he says something along the lines of, "Well, I play for fun. I don't play to get big numbers." To which I reply, "Well, that's good for you, but I play for fun and not to get shitty numbers."
Now, there is a point
Such an
here, and a
elitist.
lot of people will say this, and I disagree with them 100%, where they say people who just strap on a whole bunch of AP beams, leech, and EPS console, even though it's been rumored that EPS is a scam and Cam's profiteering off of that nice public service announcement. And they go fly with like 3 or 4 or 5 plasma consoles on there and 4 or 5 TAC consoles, and they face roll their way to 100k DPS, and that's the only way to build. And if you build otherwise, you suck. That is demonstrably incorrect. You can have fun. You can build the way you want to. You just need a little bit of knowledge and or a little bit of help in figuring out what you need to do to enjoy the build that you want to play with. Once you do that, you can both have fun and be productive in an advanced or an elite queue. If you literally just want to slap on any old thing and then go in there and have a nice relaxing time with it, there are normal queues. Some people actually do want to try and stretch their legs and go for a challenge. I applaud that. I applaud people who try. I applaud people who want to go into a map and try to figure out what the heck is going on, and they may or may not know what's right information from wrong information, so they figure they'll try it on their own and figure it out. I applaud those folks for that. When they go into a map with us, and we pug a lot just to see how people are in the community, as well as see if we could offer some help if they want it, we get a bunch of people, I would say about 40% of the folks in there, who do say, hey, how do you do that? And how do you do that with not the 8-beam array bit? And we explain it to them. We show them the builds. We show them different videos. We direct them over to Sarcasms a bit for those who are more into the advanced mechanics. We give them the STO wiki. We show them for TimberWolf and TeacherKirby's videos on how they progressed. So it shows that anybody can do it. And some people get this. They get it right off the bat. Other people will just hate it just because, oh, look, they're doing better than me. I should hate them automatically. And that's the wrong mentality to go in with it. Honestly, it is the wrong mentality. If you step up into an advanced queue, into any queue, normal, advanced, or elite, you step up in there and you want to do your damn best, go ahead. We will not knock you for doing that. And in fact, we'll applaud you for doing it. If you go in there and you want to sit around and let other people do the work, we should have an option to tractor beam you into a warp core breach and then kick you out of the damn instance.
Yeah,
What they want. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but if you're going to do we're going to use Infected Space Advanced. If you want to go in there and you want to be effective to help not just feel effective for yourself, but also be effective for the team, you have to have a certain output while being able to survive. You have to. There's no way around that. That's how it's coded for all the HP on the shields in the hull with the resistance for the NPCs. You have to have a certain damage output. If you don't, it's the way Creo put cannons at long distance. You're firing nothing more than ping pong balls at the target. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. So, there's nothing wrong if you're only doing 8K and you don't really want to do anything, but you're probably going to hurt a pug run if you're doing less than what I think that's typical considered as 10K on average for a DPS output for ISA. You don't need a tremendous amount, but in order to at least get through the run and probably make the optionals, you have to have a certain amount of damage output while putting in for survival. That can be done on budget builds. That can be done with builds that are pre-Delta Rising before all the upgrade stuff. So a lot of people that still have old ships with older builds, those still work. It doesn't have to be, okay, if I'm not doing 100K, I'm not relevant. You can still have fun with your build. It's just some people like to see how far they can take that build. Okay, I took it to 50K. Let's see if I can take it to 75. Let me see if I can take it to 100. And it's just testing our own competency with our ships, our builds, our piloting, positioning, buffs, all that kind of stuff. So there's a big difference between testing ourselves and what we've seen that has actually helped the anti-DPS crowd, which is people just going out there and showing off their EP-ness and going, well, look what I can do. Haha, my pets do better than you. Which is actually, it's hurt people just trying to come out there and help with the builds, because the moment you try to help, oh, well, you're an elitist DPS person and I don't like you. So there have been voices in the past that have actually tarnished that crowd, when a lot of people nowadays are doing is just trying to help out because they understand the mechanics and they want to help someone else learn those mechanics with their own play style. Because there are people that want to learn how to tank. They're not worried so much about damage. Zerk can attest to this with the Agronauts. They want to tank. They want to be the damage absorbers. There are people that want to do healing in this game, crowd control. They want to just do spike damage. They want to do torpedo builds. All those are fine. And they all have their places, especially if you're in low damage output runs. They're insanely helpful, because you're not just blasting through the content, so everybody has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem comes with, well, you're trying to give me, this elitist DPS thing, so I don't want it, and it's not the case. It really isn't.
I just want to jump in here. Sir just mentioned that you need about 7,500 DPS per player to meet the 15-minute optional in ISA. To that, I respond, well, sure, if you want to spend 15 minutes in an ISA slowly tickling the Borg to death, preferably, I want to do something else with my time.
That's elitist. Come on.
If that's elitist, then so fucking be it. I don't care. I want to finish that ISA as quickly as possible and move on to something else. I don't want to sit there shooting miserably at the Borg and seeing their shields go down slowly. I don't want to, spend 5 minutes killing one sphere. That's just bullshit. I'm sorry. If that's elitist, then so be it.
Well, it's not necessarily elitist. You want a return on your investment. You want a better return. And 10 minutes in an ISA is better than a 15-minute on the return for your prize, your dilithium, your marks. 5 minutes is better than 10 because you're spending less time to earn the same amount. So there's nothing elitist about that, because you've actually honed your build where you can make that happen. And that's all that the crowds that are trying to get this information out now, us included, are trying to do. The higher that we're going with our builds, whether tanking, crowd control, TeacherKirby with her gravity well builds along with Tankia, or people like myself who likes to be crazy in Odyssey, Spencer that can do, I think he can one-shot the sun at this point, because he has so much cheese. It's just we have a much better return on investment. We've gotten used to that, so it's hard for us to do pugs on top of trying to help others, because when you go into a pug, you're used to a certain time limit that you want to spend on it. You've already time managed yourself, and it's hard to get out of that mode because you already know what you want out of it.
Now, here's where this discussion can go into two different directions. One, your time invested in an STF and a return on your investment. And two, the amount of time it actually takes to complete an STF based off of how well you're doing. Now, I remember this when we were doing the Tribble tests for server performance issues and whatnot, and Bordicus and a couple other developers were in there. And we finished a CCA in around 2 minutes, and that's with heavy lag and whatnot. And we're thinking, it's 2 minutes, and he's like, oh, I remember when this thing used to be a challenge and took longer than 10 minutes. I'm just paraphrasing what he said here, but he said this is not what this map was designed to do. It was supposed to be a much longer, more in-depth fight than just show up, nuke it, and get out. So
That's mostly his fault. That's the dev's fault for it being like that. It wasn't like that. They nerfed it. They've like as many times as they've nerfed the advanced queues to make them easier, they've done twice as many nerfs to CCA in particular. They've turned CCA into a normal queue. They're the ones who did that. So
If they would like to
Yeah,
see
they have.
long duration crystalline fights, they're more than welcome to put it in the crystalline elite.
you know what? I remember the Crystalline event, and this is back early in the game when it actually came out, and that thing took like half an hour, 45 minutes with a well coordinated team, and we had people literally kiting the shards. And we'd always have one or two idiots around there who would just AoE everything with energy weapons. And when a crystalline entity was charging, they would fire all the energy weapons. They would. But we had a couple people, and that's where I started delving into torpedoes. Oh, look, I can fire torpedoes at this thing and not charge it. Oh, wow, this is nice. This is awesome. This is great. But yeah, Ernest pointed this out right here. CCN is dead empty. CCA, people going in there, and unless certain people show up, and you see a lot of this, and I'm proud to say this, with the Canadian community growing ever so much, that you would see a lot of torpedo boats going in there and literally shortening the duration of that map from probably about 5 to 10 minutes down to 2 minutes. And I'm doing this on alts on my tank with all energy weapons, and I would expect a 5 to 7 minute match going in there. And then suddenly 2 or 3 torpedo boats show up and finish it quickly. And I'm like, bravo, guys. Bravo.
Yeah, I mean it is a joke nowadays. Why go into CCN when CCA is the same daggum thing? I mean, there's no issue to it. I mean, when he thought the 2-minute run was sad, we showed him the 35-second at the time run that we had done a CCA, which I believe we've gotten that down to about 25 seconds, if not less. And it's only getting worse with more power creep. If they're wanting something to last 5 to 10 minutes, you could, I guess, obviously the big thing that they like to do is HP sponges, but let's add some more complexity to it. Let's make the crystalline event that they do twice a year with all of its extra stuff. Let's make that part of the normal queue. Let's add new stuff to it. Actually make it a challenge again. Oh, I don't know. Reintroduce failure objectives. I know, I'm evil, but that's my thought.
Well, here's the other part. I'm going to jump in here real quick on this sarcasm. Here's the other part here. The return on your investment for doing that map. You have some elites that would award about the same as an advanced, or is it the advanced awarding as much as a normal, almost as much as a normal? Hook me up on this one here, sarcasm, because I remember you did the analysis on this a couple months ago. And
yeah, there's two elite queues that are rewarding pretty much the same marks as the normals.
Yeah.
Which is the Viscous Cycle Elite and Vault Ensnared Elite.
And Vault Ensnared Elite is no joke. I mean, yeah, we can go around there and do it, but it's still, there's a difficult factor to it. You have a high stress, especially in the first part, in trying to get everything done within a time limit. So I would say that's one of the elites that say, yeah, bravo, you did a damn good job with this. High DPS teams can still fail this, and it's not some gimmick mechanic behind it either. So bravo on that still being a good map. Wish more people would play it. But you have advanced rewarding almost as much as normals, and the elites, if there is an elite version of it, butt kiss. Okay, you get one of the other awards you can only get for an elite, and then what?
And the devs probably assume that these queues are over rewarding, which is probably the reason why they haven't dropped the Borg Elite queues. You know what? In fact, I guarantee that's why they haven't dropped the Borg Elite queues, because they believe the Elite queues are over rewarding, and the Borg Elite queues have no time gates. So you can probably run 3 of those queues in 15, 20 minutes. I guarantee you that is why we haven't seen those cues. Now, here's the question I want to ask. I just want to go back to the anti-DPSers because these guys really piss me off. Is what do they want? What do these anti-DPSers want? They're always pretty much on the forum demanding stuff get nerfed. Recently, there's been pretty much a thread a week about getting FA nerfed, getting GDF nerfed, nerfing Alpha. So there's always a demand for nerfing stuff. And when you're looking at the pattern of these demands, and that's what they are. They're basically demanding that these things get nerfed. What they want is for everything to be the same. So no matter what captain career you play, no matter what ship you're in, no matter what gear you have, everyone's the same. Everyone does the same amount of DPS. This is what they want. And in truth, it is dumb as fuck. Pardon my language.
So what you're explaining is they want Star Trek Online Socialist Edition.
No. Let's be clear with this one here. The same nerf fall thread is the same mentality that SOB has with torpedoes. Oh, look, here's something that's doing too well for some reason, and we think it shouldn't be, therefore nerf it. Instead of understanding everything, the entire dynamic behind it. Fall in and of itself is as much of a problem as torpedo spread, minus the last recent change to torpedo spread. And I will say that much, that in and of itself, it's not bad. When you add a whole bunch of other things together and you chain it in under these specific circumstances, chain all these other abilities with it, then fall starts to look like it's God mode. And if you don't understand that, all you see is fall coming in, destroying everything, and then getting out, and it's like, oh, I didn't get to play at all. Oh, I got an AFK penalty. What the hell just happened here? Nerf this.
Well, there's something else also with fall. You have to consider the pilots and the way we fly these ships. When we're flying with fall, we fly the way cannon boats and torpedo boats should be flying. And here's the kicker. We're very aggressive in our flight styles. We get in really close, really fast, and we just hit all our buffs at the correct time and burst it. And we're always jumping to the next target as quickly as possible. And this is what people should be doing with their cannon boats. This is what they should be doing with their torpedo boats, but they don't do that. So that's a problem.
And I think one other thing before we move on to the next subject here, I think one other thing we also have to look at is that people want to see this game as a challenge, but not so much of a challenge that they actually have to put a whole lot of effort into it. They want to actually enjoy it and relax while just kind of playing along and say, oh, look, I get to see phasers come out of this off of my favorite show, which in and of itself is not a problem. It's when you start saying, oh, look, here are a bunch of people who are destroying all this stuff quickly, and it's their fault that this game is going down the toilet. That is just wrong. You're transferring the blame to people who have nothing to do with the development of the game itself. And let me say this as well. You don't blame the developers for including the tools in this game to allow you to do better. And you don't blame the players for using those tools that the developers provided for them to do better. If you're looking at a situation, you're hating on people doing better than you, and you have those tools available to you to do better, fault's not on them, it's on you. Now, there are some who actually say, look, this is supposed to be a challenge without it being like insta-kill everybody on the map, because that's frustrating and that's not fun. But at the same time, you're not supposed to go in and insta-kill everything on the map yourself either. There's supposed to be some sort of balance where you use the skills, you coordinate in a team, you fire your weapons, you line up your buffs, you do in a formation, or you split off into teams, and you achieve these objectives to some level of difficulty, but it's difficulty that you can overcome if you are skillful. I agree with them. There should be that in the game, and there should be more of that in the game. UUA and UUE was like that, and VEE is like that, but then you have to worry about, are the rest of the instances like that? Because once you're done with it, you're in a 30-minute lockout. What else are you going to do? Wait? And what about the rewards with them? They are pittance in comparison to some of the other maps. You can go in there and steamroll in less than 5 minutes and get paid more. So those are two major factors that come into it. And if you want to do better as a player and still enjoy the game, don't knock the people that are just going in there using the tools available to them. Try and learn something, because I learned something from a lot of these guys, every single one of them. And if you're a new player and you're trying something different, you might find something that I don't know, and I'll learn from you. But don't hate it and say, I'm not going to try, I'm going to show up in this instance and then just AFK out because these guys are just going to ruin my fun. That's just wrong. And that's only going to perpetuate that cycle. And it needs to stop.
Indeed. Now, hey, by the way, hi, Loot Critter. You're late. But I want to bring up a fallacy that just keeps cropping up. And rest assured, it is a fallacy. People like to blame the game and say that the game doesn't teach you how to play. Now, I'm sorry. How many games have you played where they actually teach you how to play? Really?
There are a couple.
Think about it.
There are a couple.
They basically teach you the basics, but to play at the medium end or even the high end, you're going to have to do your research. You have to go on the internet. You're going to have to talk to people. You're going to have to find the information. You're going to have to learn. You're going to have to practice. You're going to have to get your muscle memory up and ready. You're going to have to visit guide websites and just look at what the really good builds are, what the test results are. People who do the testing, they'll put the results up, and usually there's lots of graphs involved, and, depending on the website. But for most games out there, if you want to improve, you have to do the research.
I have to agree with that. When I first came into World of Warcraft during the Burning Crusade era, Paladins, as I played a Paladin Blood Elf. At the time, Paladins were not known for tanking. It was pretty much being experimental, as being explored at the time. We were all having to learn how to properly tank with a Paladin at that time, and finally a video came out showing it at the ultra high end that it was entirely possible. But it was something that everybody was having to research because it had never been done before, as far as especially the high end, to tank with a Paladin, of all things. It was only a warrior. The same thing goes for this game. If you're going to go up higher and higher, regardless of your build, you're going to have to research and ask people, how do I improve the build because I like what I'm doing with my gear that I've got and my abilities, but how do I make it better? And you've got to ask, because there are people out there that they've seen the weirdest builds that you've ever seen in your life, and they know how to upgrade them for the high end. So it's not knocking your build. They will work with you like we will to make your hybrid build work at a high-end level without you ruining your immersion, without ruining your fun factor, quote-unquote, which is kind of irritating in itself because we all play for fun, and I like to pimp slap people for saying I just play for fun. But there are people out there that are willing to help you regardless of what you do in the game.
Even games like Borderlands, forget about WoW. WoW is like that's an easy example to give. But go over to Borderlands 2. There's some really in-depth guides for that, especially build guides. I remember doing a number of videos, just some quirky tutorial videos on how to do certain things, certain build styles in the game as well. So there's a lot of games like that.
All right, let's move on.
Okay.
We beat this thing down. We're probably going to beat it down a little bit further next month when the CCA event happens, or whenever it does happen. So let's go
Beginning
on.
of March,
Oh, beginning of March. I stand corrected.
if they follow the cycle that they have been.
Now, you know what? I've been triggered by your image. That offends me. I must kill you now.
Now, you do know that this whole
Hey,
Nerf
now.
torpedoes things that Spencer's doing is just to troll you, right?
No. I'm fully offended and I'm triggered here. I have to boot.
Well, you see, I have this wonderful thing called a pilot ship that has built-in immunities and has the capability to also use this deploy countermeasures skill. It lets me get almost constant uptime on immunities versus kinetic damage, so you're more than welcome to try and kill me.
And what's funny is he likes to flaunt that ship while nerfing torpedoes, even though he knows he's fully immune to them. So it begs the question, what kind of a hard-on does he have against torpedoes? Or is it really just
Actually,
Astro
right now,
behind him?
it's specifically the enhanced biomolecular. I really have issues with that torpedo in high yield. It's just too powerful.
And isn't that Odin's favorite torpedo?
Oh,
Actually,
yes,
all the torpedoes
it
are my
is.
favorite torpedoes. And yes, I'm at 20% Cisco level there right now. So he's offended
okay.
me. I've got to boot TimberWolf. Bye.
Oh, wow.
Moving on to forecasts and predictions for 2016. Starting with TeacherKirby. What do you think might show up in the game here?
Well, I am really hoping, crossing my fingers, that we see a reappearance of the Omega Particle scanning mini game for the upgrades. Please, please, please let that come back. Other than that, I'm hoping for the Tier 6 Scimitar and that Tier 6, I can't talk tonight, Tier 6 Flagship Bundle. Thank you. I am hoping for that. And just continuation of the newest story arc.
I look forward to seeing the 2 to 3K DPS T6 tactical scimitars. It will make me cry.
Never mind. Yeah. Anything else, Mr. Nerf Torpedoes, because they pose a challenge to you?
Oof. Well, I would very much like to, just actually be able to, move around ESD at some point without being pushed back across the map. So if we could get that done, that'd be great.
So we'll see network performance issues being resolved.
And I would also very much like more power creep. If I could get something to make my beams fire even faster and do more damage, I would greatly appreciate it.
I see. Nerf torpedoes, buff beams. Well, you already had a pass with that. It's called a change to torpedo spread.
Also, plasma explosions can make them crit again.
Yeah, I'm going to be done with you. Zeph Films, please. What's your forecast and predictions?
Maybe a DS9 revamp. That would be cool. I honestly don't know. And maybe a season 12 this year.
Oh, season 12, no doubt, will be around April. And with map revamp, she reminded me. I'm hoping that the T6 Scimitar has the full Scimitar bridge from that Capture the Flag mission in the Delta Arc. That would be very nice.
April? So soon, you think?
Well, they follow a 3-month cycle, so we're going to have 11.5 here at the beginning of February. So I guess now it would be late May, most likely, or early June, that we'll be seeing Season 12.
Huh.
That's a very aggressive schedule.
There's always been a new content release every 3 months. It's the same cycle the lockboxes follow in any events.
Mm-hmm.
TimberWolf.
So you're saying June, May, June, something like that? That sounds about the time when they start looking at the lag.
Probably.
TimberWolf, your forecast and predictions.
Less lag, less problems server side, network side. Quite honestly, looking forward to our anniversary event. Let's see, the Tier 6 Odyssey bundle. Honestly, looking forward to seeing if they're going to bring back the initiative that they started with the Jupiter class carrier and bring that to the KDF and the Romulans. Looking forward to the possibility, going to forecast prediction here, of more science ships, such as maybe a Tier 6 Vesta, a Tier 6 Luna, those kind of things. But definitely the initiative that they did with the Jupiter class carrier for KDF and Romulan, so we could bring those factions more starships, especially more variety. And more nerfs to Saab, or as his new name, thanks to Happy Mortal, MJ Saab.
Wow.
Okay, we're going to leave you alone on that one there. Sarcasm, go.
You know what? I don't care.
Wow.
I don't care anymore. I've had it. I'm fed up. Fix the bloody game already.
And that said, I would hope for and expect a rewrite of certain powers and abilities, as well as changing the polling time between the client and the server, assuming that that has been adjusted once before, so that some abilities would actually activate on time and other abilities won't have this, oh, you didn't activate? Well, let's activate you again so you can gain that power again happening. That way we can avoid certain exploits from going on in game. And while Luke Critter has stated that the DS9 revamp is not on the schedule, one would hope that there would be a DS9 revamp. I would hope that the map loading issues between ESD, DS9, and some other maps would be fixed before the next major event. Yes, Ernest, we know. Fix torpedo barrage. That's my whole torpedo rant. That's going to go on that there. Yes, we know.
Yeah, map transfer needs to be fixed, or yeah, because I'm getting sick of doing demo recording, going to different things, and having to restart my game like 10 times in a night while I'm trying to do movie shit.
Yeah. As far as what could be coming down the pipeline, I don't think any, and I could be wrong, and hopefully I would be wrong on this, but I don't think there are any major revamps for anything within the kinetic community has to be concerned with. As far as new powers and abilities, expect them, yes, but nothing so major that it would rewrite the rules or rewrite the meta, or metas, as some people would like to put it. I would like to be able to see some new map drop that would encourage people to coordinate as well as have fun. And to change the reward structure so that the harder maps would actually pay out more on the resources or the marks versus the lower tier ones. Oh, and FYI, the Hestia sale is going on right now, 20% off. Go buy it. It's a nice ship. I love it.
And
Beautiful.
The Hestia sale, I'm really glad they did that. They had forgot to put that in with the other ships during the little New Year sale that they had, so they made up for it, and good on them.
Yep, so those who haven't bought it yet, it is a good ship. Yes, it's an escort with command. You know what? It's useful. It's powerful. It's good. It can hit 100k with a hybrid build, so go get one. With that said, we were leading up to the Teacher's Corner. Everybody sit down, classes in session. TeacherKirby, teach us a lesson.
Well, first of all, I wanted to say SOB is supposed to pay special attention to this one, and that comes from Grim, who just did a PvP battle with him a few days ago. So the teacher's corner tonight is aim and crouch mode on the ground. I was talking to a few of our ground pounder friends, and they said the biggest thing they've seen lately, since more people are trying ground, since the split of the skills, is that people newer to the ground just don't realize that you can aim by hitting its default X key, but by hitting this key you can go into aim mode and increase your ranged weapon by damage by 33% just by hitting one single key. And then crouch, which is default C, increases your dodge chance, so less of the shots hit you, unless, and this is where SOB needs to pay attention according to Grimm, unless you are fighting someone who's doing melee, because then the damage you take is doubled if you're in crouch and fighting someone doing melee. But yeah, aim, which is default X, and crouch, which is default C, awesome on the ground. They do help. They increase your overall damage on your ranged weapons. There's even a trait where you go into aim mode and you get 10% increase on your overall damage on everything. It's mental acuity off of the counter command rep. But yeah, I mean, they're great things that a lot of newer ground players don't realize are even there. So check it out.
Thank you very much, Teach. And we're going into the nice cinematic presence here of Zeph Films. Could you please give us a couple of the films that we should be looking at and taking care of note? Oh, and you did release your top 10 of 2015, didn't you?
I did, yes. So, but I'll start off with Mr. Timber.
What?
Yes, you. You released a video budget build for the T5U Fleet Sovereign.
Oh yeah, I did do that.
Well, you're here, so I'm gonna let you talk about it.
Well, it was actually a request. A few other people have had Fleet Sovereigns. One person over the 602 likes using disruptors. So they wanted to see what a budget build would look like on that vessel. They wanted to see it for a while. So I put out one that uses some reputation gear and the old plasma disruptor hybrid arrays at Mark 11 from one of the Federation missions. It's averaging about 27, 28K on output. It has no science bridge officers, so I'm running 3 tactical and 2 engineering. That can always be changed around. But it has a good output. I believe in the organized run it did 43K. So it's just one of those things. There's no upgrades. There's no Spire consoles. I don't even think I have plasma explosion consoles on the build. And it's still able to do very well, and that's kind of a point we were making earlier on in the show. It can more or less qualify if you take away your starship traits and maybe 1 or 2 things that are on the build. It qualifies as a pre-Delta Rising build, and those still are doing good. You just know how to pilot, know how to maximize your abilities, your positioning. And I like the Fleet Sovereign. The Fleet Sovereign was the first ship I had before the Odyssey, so it's always had a special affinity in my mind. It's probably going to be the last tactical budget build I do. After this, I'm moving more to the science and engineering tunes to show those particular tunes being able to perform well on a budget.
And we'll be giving the link to that video as well to the STO Academy site for the build. And yeah, I'm looking at your build here. No embassy consoles on it. I think 2 engineer consoles, 1 science console, and then in your science and engineer is just universals there.
Yeah, it's just kind of pieced together. Now, one of them does rely on the fact that you got the Kobali cruiser from the anniversary event.
Yeah.
You can change that out with something else, maybe a neutronium armor or something, just piece in something there. Probably another universal from the reputation. But it's just really if you look at it, you've got 3 pieces from the Breen set. We're in the middle of the winter event right now, so you can still get the warp core. The other 2, the deflector and the impulse engine, are mission rewards. Most of the beam arrays are mission rewards. So it was just something I was throwing together. And the one thing that everybody's going to notice, and they're probably going to pick on me a little bit, the Instant Tactical has a torpedo ability in it. It's simply because there was nothing that I could put in that slot that wasn't already being used elsewhere. So yes, I know it's wasted.
I see how it is.
Well, unfortunately, a torpedo does not fit into this build. There are going to be builds that, like I said, I have a science tune that's going to be using a torpedo on it, the neutronic, and there is an engineering build that's going to use the quantum phase torpedo. But for this particular one, there was too many tactical slots for me to fill, and there's almost nothing that's really useful besides TAC Team in the ensign slot. It's something that if they were to do an addition to ensign abilities, I'd like to see, because there's not a lot of ensign abilities at rank 1, or quite possibly it would help a lot of people move cannon abilities down to where they're the same levels as FA. So that way you don't have to have a commander tactical to have cannon rapid fire or scatter volley 3. It would just give people a little bit more options in that ensign slot. So it was just kind of a wasted slot, I know. But I was happy with it. I was actually surprised at what it was doing. But then again, it's one of those builds you probably could have seen a year and a half ago, and it was a solid 20k build.
Well, that torpedo wouldn't be a complete waste if you had which trait is it? Reciprocity.
If you had something like, if you had already bought something like Reciprocity or All Hands on Deck, then yes.
Yeah, it would help towards that. So if you have that ability, it's not a complete waste having it there. If anything, it's kind of good to have that extra thing that doesn't share a cooldown with the other abilities that you have listed there. So.
And to answer the question from Ernest, we are working. I believe it was Ernest. We are working on budget torpedo builds. I have one that I'm working with Odin. He has one personally because he knows torpedoes more than pretty much anyone in this panel. So we're gonna have torpedo builds. And no, you do not count because you like to just troll with the AP torpedo.
No. Does it consist of just the enhanced biomolecular and high yield?
No.
And concentrate firepower?
All right, look, let me give you the quick and dirty of this real quick. If you're leveling up, make a bunch of crafted transphasic torpedoes, slot them, fire them off, upgrade them as you go forward. They'll be great for you up until around level 55 when you start doing a little bit more harder content. Then swap to either different crafted torpedoes or use some of the rep rewards or the mission rewards that you get from them. End.
Hell, mine was using the adapted transphasic, the rapid reload, and the resonant. I'm going straight transphasics.
We also have some other videos that are coming up here we're going to showcase, including one from a new upstart on everything Hive related.
Ooh.
Everything what?
Hive.
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 Hive related? What?
Well, one of our viewers and a guy that hangs out with us in TeamSpeak when we're not doing the show and other shenanigans, Happy Mortal, he has started diving into the world that is demo record, and he has released 2 videos. His first knot was Agronaut Waltz tanking in A major. I really like the song choice in there, and he just released another one, Into the Hive Elite Forces. The video is a demo record of him going through STF. I think it's with pre-made teams, and instead of doing the usual hitting fraps and you see the whole HUD and everything like that, he captured a demo record of the entire thing and then plotted his camera path. So both videos, I know definitely the first one was all one camera path and it was almost 7 minutes long. So kudos to you for sticking to a camera path for 7 minutes, because I've done that once and never again. But he's starting to come along there. So we'll have those videos in the notes. Starbase UGC released another trailer, released a trailer today. I think it was actually a little bit earlier, but they posted it up on Reddit today. They have a new Foundry series coming up called Photonomy. So we'll have the trailer link for the trailer up for that, and I think that's it. Oh, and I released my top 10 video thing last week, but I think it was Friday.
Loot Critter just pointed out that our buddy Shannara is doing some new ground videos. It says on his Twitch, but I believe he might be doing it on his YouTube channel, or he's going to be making a new YouTube channel for that as well. We're probably going to have to dig into that and ask him, and probably feature it on next week's show.
Yeah,
we'll get the link from him and we'll include it in the comments as well.
Photonomy's already out.
So the Foundry series Photonomy is already out. I think this trailer is for the next episode of this series, if I remember correctly. I keep getting these things mixed up. I'm a horrible.
Somebody get me a link for that where I need to include this, and it'll be done.
Link
include in the show notes. Photonomy.
It's in there already.
Oh, you put it in there. I see.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm just blind.
Yeah, it's in.
I'm just blind. All right, well, at the end of this show, like Sarcasm has started up with us here, and including some sort of sci-tech into our Star Trek, we are going to include an article here written by Zerg on summarizing what mankind has done. And while it may not seem like a big deal to a bunch of people now, it will be in the future when all of the technology and engineering material scientists get together and come and look over everything that the researchers have done and say, hey, we can build stuff out of this now. Mankind has completed and cataloged 118 elements. We have now filled up the periodic table as it stands right now. Anything we do from this point on, we're going to have to add a new row.
Nice.
We're going to have to just add it in.
Nice.
So right now, the periodic table is done, is built, it's nice and complete. Anything we do now is a new addition to it. Now, for those who actually know a little bit about chemistry or physics and the periodic table, we were able to catalog these elements based off of what properties that they have, or predict what properties that they would have. And everything beyond uranium, mankind has had to fabricate. We have fabricated up to element 118. Even if it has a half-life of a couple milliseconds, it's there. We've done it. What we do with this knowledge now, we won't know until far into the future. But that's one of the marvelous things about science. We've discovered something, we're starting to learn about it. What are its implications? What can we use it with? What are the impacts to ourselves, our lives, and our society? We won't know into the future. And that's something that, for me, I would like to live long enough to see what we can do with 118 elements. And no, it's not unobtainium. Thank you very much. We'll put a link in there to the periodic table. You can go and see the actual names and enjoy it. Learn a little bit of something there.
I have one more important thing to add. Sorry, if you're done the sci-fi section.
I'm done.
Sci-fi?
Sorry. No, hold on. I thought you said sci-tech, son.
Okay. Actually, before you go on, I just stumbled on this video not too long ago, and it was I didn't have enough time to put it in the show notes, or actually viewed a video, but this is from someone we've talked about before, Spacetime PBS Digital Studios. He has a new video called "The True Nature of Matter and Mass." So I haven't had a chance to watch that, but this guy's videos are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, Phil Plate's awesome. Go watch it. It's great. I love that video. We're still trying to find it out. And no, Mithril doesn't exist. Get out of here, Luke. So please, Zeph Films, continue on what you're going to say before we wrap up the show.
Oh, happy birthday, Aaron Eisenberg.
Indeed.
Happy birthday
Yes, happy
to
birthday.
And what a hell of a way to have roll in his birthday. He's got his new kidney.
Yeah.
Man's
Nothing
walking
on
around.
Twitter from him, but that's expected because it's a bit of a recovery process. And I think the last thing you want to do when you're sitting in a hospital bed trying to make sure that your new kidney takes is pull out your phone and go to the Twitterverse. But I've seen some posts around. I think what's the actress name that plays Renee? I think he mentioned that both Aaron and the donor are doing good. So that is good to hear.
Awesome. So, on behalf of everybody here on the show, Captain TimberWolf, Captain SOB with your anti-torpedo nonsense, Captain SarcasmDetector, Captain TeacherKirby, and our Chief Emergency Role-Playing
Yes.
Hologram, Zeph Films. This is your Chief Stuttering Strategic Operations Officer signing off, saying it's been a hell of a night. I'm going to go get some rest later, but you all go enjoy the game. We'll see you out there. Good night, folks.
See you guys.
Good night.
Good night.